Indeed, we are connected, as always, with Jose Gonzalez, who is always well informed about the global situation. Jose, we want to ask you directly about Venezuela and Maduro. There has been talk about the U.S. Navy approaching Venezuela. Rumors are circulating, and I know that you have had contact with people, well, because you have worked for several years in Venezuela. You are very well informed. What is true and what is false? How accurate are the reports? How likely is Maduro's resignation, and how possible, Jose, is U.S. military intervention in that country? The general perception arises from the fact that the Trump administration has issued two executive orders and increased the U.S. reward for Nicolas Maduro Moros, who is accused of being part of a drug cartel. The reward, previously $25 million, is now $50 million, much higher than what was offered for bin Laden at one point. Additionally, an executive order designates the so-called Cartel of the Suns, composed of Venezuelan military officers, as a terrorist organization. Mexican drug cartels and the Tren de Aragua have also been designated as terrorist organizations. This allows the United States to intervene in foreign nations, as it did in Afghanistan and Pakistan, which has generated criticism from the Mexican president. It was announced that there is a U.S. task force of 3 missile ships that departed from ports in southern U.S. states belonging to the U.S. Southern Command. They had to return due to a hurricane but are expected to redeploy in an anti-drug operation. This is not the first time such an operation occurs and includes a U.S. Marine reconnaissance unit with 2,500 men. However, 2,500 men are insufficient for an invasion of Venezuela. Estimates suggest between 50,000 and 250,000 troops would be needed, as in Afghanistan or Iraq. This is what is generating significant concern. At the same time, between last week and this week, 3 Chevron tankers have arrived to collect Venezuelan oil. The Trump administration renewed Chevron's production license in Venezuela, so oil normalization between both countries continues. This reflects a somewhat schizophrenic policy. On one hand, political and military pressure. On the other, economic normalization. What has drawn attention, Jose, is Maduro's behavior, hinting at the possibility of resignation. It is not a direct resignation. This week, Maduro made a presentation and a formal speech citing Cipriano Castro's proclamation, a Venezuelan military president in 1902, when German and British naval forces blockaded the port of La Guaira. Maduro stated something like, "If I must leave for this to end and for the country to be rebuilt, if I must release political prisoners," and today 13 political detainees were released. The message is cryptic. Remember that during the Biden administration, there were Qatar agreements between the U.S. and Venezuela that generated Chevron's original license. There were also Barbados agreements between the opposition and the government. If Maduro lost last year's election, he would leave. If he won, he would convene a national unity government. He lost the election but stole it, indicating an internal change in the regime in the coming months, especially with Chevron's new license under the Trump administration. Rumors are intense, and where there's smoke, there's fire. The important thing is that Chevron is operating again. Those 300,000 daily barrels represent 8% of Venezuelan production. The formalization of the agreement in Peru for the Zocalo continental blocks is also significant. Chevron is seeking to diversify production with high-cost 3D seismic studies but undeniable geological and geopolitical potential. Thank you very much, Jose. And congratulations, because once again we've shared a scoop with viewers across the country. The serious possibility of Chevron entering Peru has been realized this week.